Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing great. I thought it was about time to do that video on taking my cats out to travel for the first time, what I did to prepare them for it and everything. I'm no expert, of course, and I'll just say right up front, if anybody else has any suggestions, just put them down in the comments and everybody read that and see anything anybody could add to what I'm saying. You got to remember that all cats are different, so they're all going to react differently to the same situation. For instance, Sam, I had to take him on a quick camping trip a few months before I actually left. And I just threw him in the van. I had to take him along because he had an ear infection and no preparation at all. I put him in the van. He hid underneath the seat all the way out there. By the time I came back from that trip to Iowa, it was a week-long trip. He was fine. He didn't have any problem. So I knew, because Sam was a pretty laid-back guy, and he was just great, just all-around great guy. I knew that it wouldn't be the same with the other two cats. So I actually put Jeff and Mabel out probably 3 or 4 weeks before I left. I put him out in the van, and I think I brought Mabel in at night because she was a kitten and I wanted to play with her, but basically I left him out in the van. And I didn't leave him there just cold. I put their bedding and their toys, and I went and spent time with them out in the van every day. Sometimes I would take little trips down to the grocery store and back, you know, just little tiny trips so they get used to actual travel, but I didn't go anywhere major or anything like that. And yeah, and I just left him out there. And one thing is, when you're traveling, another thing, and yes, I have notes because I'll never remember all this. Another thing when you're traveling is cats don't like the actual traveling part. You know, Sammy did. He would just crawl into my lap, but most cats don't like the actual movement and everything. So you want to have cubbies, little nooks, little places they can escape to when you're actually on the road traveling. You know, like I said, all cats are different. So Jeff, he will not come out when you're actually driving. Sometimes Mabel will. This was in the van. It's a totally different story now that I'm in the trailer, but yeah. Sad story. I thought Mabel was coming up. You know, Sam would always lay on my lap when I was traveling, or he'd be bugging me by getting up in the windshield and stuff, but mostly he slept in my lap. And Mabel would always come up. I have some video of it, and she would lay and curl in a little ball with him on my lap, and I just thought that was so sweet. She came up to see me and all that stuff. No. When Sammy passed away, she would never come up again. She came up once or twice, saw Sammy wasn't there, and then I was kind of heartbroken that I thought she was coming up to spend time with me, and she wanted to be close to me, but all she cared about was Sammy. So, a little sad story, but we're buddies now, so that's all that matters. Okay, back to the cats traveling. So yes, I kept him in the van, and then I actually went to visit a friend on a short camping trip. So I took them all with me, but I took them all on this short little camping trip, and then I came back, I sold my house, and we took off. I mean, I sold, you know, I closed on my house at 10:30, and that was it. I was gone. What I do is, and I still do this now, is, well, when I first started, I only went a couple hours, and then I camped somewhere for 2 days. And that was so they could get used to that distance traveling, and then just kind of mellow out, let them see the new scenery and everything. And then, since then, I had, had quite a ways to go. And I had to drive every day, and it's not something I like to do because the cats don't like that. It kind of stresses them out, the traveling part. So when I traveled like 3, 4, 5 days, Jeff would start getting upset. So I always do short trips, as you know. I only do 2 or 3 hours. But still, after 3 or 4 days, he was starting to get upset. So sometimes cats don't like constantly moving every day because they're stressed. I know when I travel now, just once, you know, I'll go for 2 or 3 hours and then I'll camp. When they come out, they'll just sleep. They're so, I think they're so stressed out when I'm doing the actual driving that they're just tuckered out by the time we get in. They will just pass out on the bed. So, yeah, I'd say travel short distances and try not to travel every single day. Kind of give them a break there. Let's see. Yeah, you gotta just give them time. You want to go slow with it. Give them time. Don't expect them to catch on to it, you know, in a day or two. Like I said, Sammy did, but you got to know your cats, you know. What happens is they eventually get to thinking of this as the van or the vehicle as their home, and they start to feel safe in there. But you don't want to let them out. And I've heard this from other people. Do not let your cat out after a week. Give them time. Give them time to know that this is their place, this is their safe place, and this is their home, and this is where they're gonna feel the most comfortable, where they'll run to if they get scared, and that's really important. And I'm speaking from experience because I did everything I said, but I still lost a kitty after a month. Don't push them into something before they're ready, is what I'm saying. And I have to live with the fact I did lose my little girl Lulu. I was pushing her to get used to it, and she did. And like I said, I have to live with that, and I'm not talking about it anymore because I get upset. But, so yeah, you want to remember to just let them get used to this way of life. They have to know that this is their safe place, the van is their safe place, or whatever you're driving is their safe place. And I'll tell you, for instance, on Jeff, he's a really sensitive guy. He's just very sensitive. You got to keep an eye on him. He never tried to get out of the van because he knew that's where he felt safest. He had his little cubby and everything like that. But when I was moving from the van over to the trailer, I put him in the trailer, and I actually had to watch him. He would try to dart out the door of the trailer because he was trying to get back to the van. It was his home, it was where he felt safe. So it didn't take him too long to figure out, he eventually figured out he had all this stuff in here, and Mabel was in here and everything. And he eventually found out that this is his place here, so he calmed down. But you got to watch them when you move their environments. Even from a house to another, they're going to want to go home. They're going to go to their safe place. So if you think, oh, he'll be fine, he seems fine, and then you just let them wander out there and they get scared, all they know is I want to go home. And if this is not their home, you might lose them. And I'm not the only one that's saying this. There was a guy, I think his name was Thomas, and he was talking about how he lost his first cat on the road because you really got to give them a month or two. And I'm not even going by time. You have to really technically go by the cat itself. Is this their home now? Do they feel like it's their home? So I didn't mean to go on and on about that, but it's really important. You don't want to lose your kitty because it's devastating. Let's see. So give them time, go slow with it, and they'll eventually catch on to. They may not like the traveling part, the actual driving part, which, like I said, to this day they don't here. But they love to go new places. They always pop out as soon as I get somewhere and look to see, where am I now? Look at the birds, look at the trees, look at the desert. So they're always interested in new environments, and it's actually really exciting for them to be in new places. You know, they're not seeing the same thing all the time. It's really fun for them. I will tell you that every campground I've been at, there have been cats, people with cats. You may not always see them, but they're there. I always run into somebody, if I see somebody with a cat on a leash or out on a harness or something, I'll go over and talk to that person. So there hasn't been a campground I've been to that there was not a cat in some vehicle there. So there are more of them than you think. It's pretty common. They actually, I got to tell you, they do great. They really do great. It's a great life for them. It really is. Like I said, they might not like the actual traveling part, but they are great. They do wonderful. I will say the harness thing. Now, Sammy took to a harness right away. I just put it on him, and that was it. When you're training him, if you want to train him to a harness, the best way to do it, and the way I did it with Lulu and Jeff or Sam, was I just put it on him 10 minutes a day, take it off, because they'll flip. Some of them will flip out. Sam just kind of went like that, and he was like, let me out. Okay, I'm ready. But they'll kind of shrug, they'll roll over, they'll act like they're dying, it's just killing them, and put them on 10 minutes. Give it a couple weeks. 10 minutes the first day, 10 or 15 the second day. Do that for a while, maybe increase it to a half hour, and then an hour and 2 hours. Eventually, over time, they will get used to that harness. And and then you got to train them outside. If they don't want to go outside, don't make them go outside. Okay, that was my mistake with Lulu. I thought she was ready, and she had no interest in going outside. And she slipped her harness. Any cat that's scared can get out of those harnesses. I don't care how secure they are. I watched it happen before my very eyes. And she was scared, and she wanted to go home. And I never saw her again. So, yeah, don't, if they don't want to go out, don't make them go out. Now, these two here, people are always saying, why don't you let them outside? Well, they don't want to go out, okay? If they did, like I knew Sammy wanted to go out, I'd teach him to a harness and let him out. Sammy had been an outdoor cat in another life, He was 10 years old when I got him, and apparently he wanted to go outside, so I let him. These two have shown no indication of wanting to go out, and after I've lost Lulu, I'm not forcing them to. Now, they're quite happy in here. This is their home. This is their safe place. I open up all the windows. They, not today, it's raining, but they're right there in nature. It's right there. Jeffy here, he's in the window now. Yeah, I open the windows and they can feel the fresh air. They feel the mountain breeze. Everything is just wonderful for them. They have never shown any indication of wanting to go out. I think a lot, and I know I'm going way off subject here, but I think a lot of cats, both of these cats were raised in feral colonies, outside in feral colonies where they were lucky to get any food or anything like that. Kind people came by and tried to feed them and things like that. That's a really rough environment to live the first 6 months of your life. It's not like they were a cat running around the neighborhood or anything like that, but they were actually in these feral colonies. So life was extremely tough. When they are raised like that from kittens, and then they find some really nice, safe place to live, they're not going to want to give it up. They know what it's like out there, So, yeah. So I think that's why these two are like, no, I don't want to go out. I like it better here. I got my food, I got my shelter, everything's great. So just open the windows, let me look out, and I'm fine. So yeah, I think that's why they don't go out. Now the other day, I've always been real careful, but I've been in the trailer here for about 5 months now, so I'm kind of relaxing my rules a little bit. But I actually went out the other day, and I thought I had the screen door shut. I had the door open. I thought I had the screen door shut, but it wasn't all the way shut. And I was sitting right beside the door out there, but I wasn't paying any attention. And about 10 minutes later, I happened to glance over, and the screen door was open, and Mabel was just standing there, or she was sitting there. She was probably pushed it the rest of the way open with her little paw, but she didn't leave. And I checked inside, and Jeff had come out because he had been under the bed before. He'll come out whenever I open that door and have the screen out because he likes to look out. I guess he just jumped up into the bed and fell asleep on the pillow. So neither one of them had any, you know, they don't show any desire to be outside, which is good. And if they ever did, I would go ahead and find a way to get them out. So just reviewing here, yeah, just make the van, the trailer, whatever, their home. Put their toys in there, put their beds in there, things that they can smell you and their own scent on things. Give them cubbies to get into when they're scared, when you travel. You know, someplace so they feel safe inside a little cubby or a little nook somewhere. They say to put them at different levels. You can do that too. I can't do that in the trailer, but I did that in the van. Different levels, up high, some down low. You should do that in the house too, by the way. Take your time, go slow, give them a chance, know your cat, whether it is scared or not, what will scare it. Don't push it, okay, just don't push it. Try to take it slow at first on the traveling and the distances you go. Get them so they get used to the actual being on the road, because it does stress them out. Even cats that are used to it, the driving part does freak them out a bit. Yeah, and just remember there's other cats out there on the road too, and they all seem to go well with this kind of life. They have no problems with it at all. You would be surprised. They have no problems with this kind of life at all. So anyway, and like I said, if anybody has any other suggestions, you can put it down in comments below. Everybody read the comments and see what other people say. This is just my personal experience. I've had cats for 45 years or something, but I'm no real expert at it. It's just what I'm trying to get into the head of a cat and think like a cat instead of thinking, well, what would I like? No, you got to think, what would they like? And that's really important. So anyway, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys are doing okay, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.